As weeks passed, Violet's command of English improved dramatically. Her species had an incredible aptitude for languages, Lily discovered. They sat together in the observation dome of the outpost, watching the sunset over the red plains of Vega 7. My people are called the Lirani. Violet explained, her tail swishing gently behind her as she spoke. We come from a system with 3 suns. Our planet orbits the middle one. That sounds beautiful, Lily said, trying to imagine such a place. Always light, never dark. Violet's amber eyes seemed distant with memory. My people love light, we fear darkness, that is why we sleep under stars. Lily had noticed this behavior. Violet refused to sleep in the standard quarters assigned to her. Instead, she made a nest of blankets directly under the small skylight in the corner of the room. Tell me about your ship, Lily asked. What were you doing in this sector? Violet's tail stiffened, a sign Lily had come to recognize as discomfort. My people explore, to find, to learn. She paused, searching for words, to prove superiority. Superiority, yes. Violet nodded. Lirani believe we are better than all others. That is our way to show we are most advanced, most intelligent, most worthy. That sounds lonely, Lily observed. Violet looked surprised. Lonely. She considered the word. Perhaps yes, but it is our way for many generations. And what have you learned about humans since you've been here? Lily asked, curious about how her species might be perceived. Violet's tail swished thoughtfully. Humans help without question. You found me injured. You helped not knowing who I am, if I am friend or danger. Her amber eyes fixed on Lily. This is not Lirani way we would study. First decide if helping brings advantage. Well, I'm glad we found you, Lily said with a smile. I also am glad. Violet attempted to smile back, though the expression looked strange on her alien features. The next day, Commander Wilson called Lily to her office. We've received word from Starfleet. Command, the starship Starseeker will be stopping at Vega 7 next week to pick up our research samples and deliver new personnel. Yes, Commander. They've also expressed interest in our visitor. Wilson continued. They want to learn more about her species. Lily felt suddenly protective. Violet isn't a research specimen. Of course not, Lieutenant, but first contact with a new spacefaring species is a significant event. Starfleet needs to evaluate the situation. Lily told Violet about the upcoming visit. The alien seemed curious rather than concerned. These Starfleet people, they explore, yes, like Lirani. Yes, Lily confirmed. But not to prove superiority, just to learn and understand, to make friends with other species when possible. Violet's tail swished with interest. I would like to meet them. When the Starseeker arrived, it created quite a stir at the small outpost. The ship was a medium-sized exploration vessel with a crew of 60. Captain Becky Marshall was a veteran explorer with over 15 years in deep space. Lily accompanied Violet to the meeting with Captain Marshall. The alien walked confidently beside her, her purple skin gleaming in the artificial light of the outpost. Her tail moved gracefully behind her, giving her an elegant appearance. Captain Marshall was professional but warm. Welcome to human space, Violet. We're very interested in learning about your people and helping you if we can. Violet surprised everyone by responding in nearly perfect English. Thank you, Captain Marshall. I am grateful for your hospitality. The captain raised her eyebrows, looking impressed. Your language acquisition is remarkable. Over the next few days, Violet met with various crew members from the Starseeker. She answered their questions about Lirani technology, culture, and biology, though. Lily noticed she was careful about how much technical information she shared. One evening, Violet found Lily packing her personal items in her quarters. You are leaving, Violet said, her tail drooping slightly. Yes, Lily admitted. My assignment at the outpost is complete. I'm being transferred to the Starseeker as part of their science team. I see. Violet's amber eyes looked sad. I will miss our conversations. Lily hesitated, then asked, would you like to come with me? Violet's head tilted in that characteristic way to the Starseeker. Yes, the captain mentioned they could use someone with your knowledge of this sector of space. And I know you're not ready to go home yet. If that's even possible, My people think I am dead, Violet said quietly. They will not come looking. The distance is too great. So what will you do? Violet was quiet for a long moment. I would like to stay and learn more about humans if that is permitted. In fact, Lily said, I have a proposal. The Starseeker is scheduled for a deep space survey mission. They could use a skilled navigator. Violet's amber eyes widened. You would trust me with your ship? Why not? You have the skills we need, and I believe everyone deserves a chance to chart their own course. Violet's tail swished with more energy than Lily had ever seen. I would be honored. Captain Marshall was initially skeptical about bringing an unknown alien on board as part of the crew. She's my responsibility, Lily insisted during their meeting, and her navigation skills are incredible. Her species has evolved with an innate understanding of spatial mathematics. That may be, Lieutenant, the captain said, but we know very little about the Lirani. What if her people come looking for her? What if this is some kind of infiltration tactic? With all due respect, Captain Violet has had access to our outpost systems for weeks. If she wanted to sabotage us or gather intelligence, she could have done so already. The captain considered this. You seem quite certain about her trustworthiness. I am, Lily said firmly. Captain Marshall finally agreed, but assigned Lily as Violet's official liaison. Any problems and it's on you, Lieutenant Hart. The day they boarded the Starseeker, Violet stood at the viewport watching as Vega 7 grew smaller below them. Her tail swished with excitement. New journey begins, she said to Lily. Yes, it does. Lily agreed. Are you nervous? Yes, Violet admitted, but good nervous, excited nervous. She turned to Lily. Thank you for nickname for friendship for new path. The first few weeks aboard the Starseeker were challenging. Violet struggled to adapt to the ship's routines and human customs. Some crew members were openly curious about her, others kept their distance. The mess hall would often fall silent when she entered, her tail dragging low behind her. But Lily remained her steadfast friend, introducing her to Earth, music, movies, and food. Violet particularly loved ice cream, which made her tail swish with delight. This frozen cream is most excellent, she would say, her amber eyes glowing with pleasure. She was assigned to work in navigation under Lieutenant Paula Rivera, who was initially hesitant about working with an alien. I don't know how your species navigates, Lieutenant Hart, she told Lily privately. Our systems are quite complex. Just give her a chance, Lily encouraged, to everyone's surprise. Violet mastered the navigation systems within days. Her spatial awareness was exceptional, allowing her to plot courses that were both safer and more efficient than standard routes. It's like she can see the space currents, Lieutenant Rivera admitted to Lily after 2 weeks. She intuitively understands gravitational effects that our computers take minutes to calculate. Gradually, the crew began to warm to Violet. Some were fascinated by her abilities. Others appreciated her quiet thoughtfulness and her willingness to learn their customs. She even began joining the weekly game night, offering games from her own culture in exchange. But there were still those who mistrusted her. Chief Security Officer Greg Parker kept a close eye on her activities and restricted her access to sensitive ship systems. It's just protocol, he explained when Lily confronted him. Nothing personal. It feels personal to her, Lily countered. She's earned some trust. Trust is earned over time, Lieutenant. Not in a few weeks. Little did any of them know that Violet would soon have a chance to earn that trust in a dramatic fashion that would change her status on the ship forever. The Starseeker had been mapping an uncharted sector for 3 weeks. Everything was proceeding according to schedule. Violet had settled into her role in the navigation department, where her unique abilities had proven valuable. Though she was still restricted from certain systems, Lily had been busy with her science duties but made time each day to check on her friend. They often shared meals in the mess hall, where Violet was slowly becoming more accepted by the crew. Humans have so many food types, Violet observed one evening as she sampled a plate of pasta. On my world, we eat mostly protein cubes and nutrient liquids, efficient but not pleasant. No wonder you love ice cream so much. Lily laughed. Ice cream is best human invention. Violet agreed, her tail swishing happily behind her. Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden jolt that shook the entire ship. The lights flickered, and the red alert klaxon began to sound. All hands to emergency stations. Captain Marshall's voice came over the intercom. We are encountering a severe ion storm. All departments report status. Lily and Violet rushed to their stations, Lily to the science lab and Violet to navigation. The corridors were filled with crew members moving quickly, but calmly to their posts. When Violet reached the bridge, she found Lieutenant Rivera already at the navigation console working frantically. Status report, demanded Captain Marshall from her command chair. The storm appeared out of nowhere, Captain. The science officer reported. It's unlike anything in our database, extremely high concentrations of charged particles. Navigation. The captain turned to Lieutenant Rivera. Plot us a course out of here. Trying, Captain Rivera's fingers flew over. The controls. But the storm is interfering with our sensors. I can't get clear readings. Another violent shake rocked the ship, sending several crew members stumbling. Engineering reports damage to the main power couplings. Called out the communications. Officer, we're losing main engine control. Switch to auxiliary power. Ordered the captain. Maintain position if possible. That's going to be difficult, Rivera said. Her voice tense. The navigational computer is glitching. I can't get reliable coordinates. Violet stood quietly at her station, watching the chaos around her. She could feel the electromagnetic disturbances in a way the humans could not. It was like seeing colors they couldn't perceive, sensing patterns invisible to their instruments. Captain, she said finally, I may be able to help. Captain Marshall glanced at her skeptically. How, Lieutenant Violet? My species can sense electromagnetic fields. Violet explained. We evolved this ability to navigate during stellar storms on our homeworld. I can feel the patterns of this storm. The captain hesitated, clearly weighing her options. The ship shuddered again, more violently this time. Engineering reports, 3 injured. The communications officer announced. And we're drifting toward an uncharted asteroid field, Lieutenant Hart, the captain said, suddenly noticing Lily, who had just arrived on the bridge. Do you trust her? Lily nodded without hesitation. With my life, Captain. Very well. The captain gestured to the navigation controls. It's all yours, Violet. Lieutenant Rivera moved aside, allowing Violet to take the main navigation station. The purple alien placed her hands on the controls. Her tail, which usually swished casually behind her, was now perfectly still in concentration. Her amber eyes seemed to look beyond the view screen, seeing patterns invisible to the humans. Firing thrusters at 17%, she announced, adjusting heading to Mark 357. The crew watched in tense silence as Violet guided the ship through the invisible maze of electromagnetic currents, making tiny adjustments that somehow always came just before sensors detected a nearby threat. It was as if she could feel the danger before the instruments could measure it. At one point, an asteroid suddenly appeared on the view screen directly in their path. The collision alert sounded, but Violet had already adjusted course. The massive rock passed by with only meters to spare. After 3 tense hours, they emerged from the storm and asteroid field into clear space. The crew burst into applause. Violet's tail resumed its characteristic swish, this time with obvious pride. Remarkable navigation. Lieutenant Violet, Captain Marshall said with genuine respect. I don't think any human could have done that. Thank you, Captain, Violet replied, her voice tired but pleased. Lirani navigators train for many years to sense such patterns. I am grateful I could help. You did more than help, the captain said. You saved this ship and everyone on it. From that day forward, Violet was truly accepted as part of the crew. The security restrictions on her access were lifted, and she was given full status as a navigation officer. She no longer ate alone in the mess hall and was included in all ship activities. But despite her growing circle of friends, she remained closest to Lily. How does it feel? Lily asked a few days after the incident, to be the hero of the Starseeker. Violet's tail swished thoughtfully. Strange Lirani do not celebrate. Individuals we serve the collective good recognition is not our way. Well, you better get used to it. Lily grinned. You're practically a celebrity now. Over the next few months, the Starseeker continued its mission of exploration. Violet's navigation skills proved invaluable, allowing them to chart regions that would have been too dangerous to explore otherwise. Captain Marshall called Lily to her office one afternoon. Lieutenant Hart, I've received a communication from Starfleet Command. They're very interested in our Lirani guest. In what way, Captain? They're considering offering her an official position in Starfleet, the first of her kind. They believe her unique abilities could be invaluable to our exploration initiatives. Lily felt a surge of pride for her friend. That's wonderful news, Captain. Does Violet know yet? No, I wanted to discuss it with you first. You know her better than anyone. How do you think she'd respond to such an offer? Lily considered the question. I think she'd be honored. But the Lirani have a different view of service than we do. They see it as duty to their species, not as a personal choice. I'm not sure how she'll feel about formally joining a human organization. Talk to her, the captain suggested, informally. See how she feels about it. That evening, Lily found Violet in the observation lounge staring at the stars. Her tail was swishing slowly. Credit for your thoughts, Lily said, sitting beside her. I was thinking about home, Violet admitted. Not with sadness, but with perspective. My people believe we are superior to all others. That belief isolates us. We travel the stars, but make no connections. And how do you feel about that now? I have seen another way. Violet turned to look at Lily. Your people value cooperation, discovery, shared experience. You are stronger for it. We have our flaws too, Lily pointed out. Yes, Violet agreed. But you acknowledge them. You try to improve. That is not the Lirani way. We believe we are already perfect. Lily took a deep breath. Captain Marshall mentioned that Starfleet might offer you an official position. Would you consider it? Violet's tail stilled a sign she was deeply considering the question. To formally join a human organization? This would be unprecedented for a Lirani. I know it's a big decision. If I accept, I could never return to my people. They would see it as betrayal of our superiority. Is that a concern for you? Violet was quiet for a long moment. No, she said finally. I have found a truth here that is worth more than return to old ways. I have found that connection is greater than isolation. That diversity brings strength. That friendship. Her amber eyes met Lily's, can cross the stars. 2 weeks later, in a small ceremony on the bridge, Violet became the first Lirani to receive an official Starfleet commission. Captain Marshall presented her with the rank insignia of lieutenant, in recognition of your exceptional service and the spirit of cooperation between our peoples. I am honored to welcome you officially to Starfleet, the captain said, as Violet accepted the insignia. Her tail swished with pride. Lily stood nearby, beaming with happiness for her friend. What had begun as a chance encounter on a remote planet had become a historic moment of interspecies cooperation. That night, the crew held a celebration in the mess hall. There was music, food, and even a special batch of ice cream in a purple color that the chef had created in Violet's honor to Lieutenant Violet. Captain Marshall raised a glass. May you be the first of many Lirani to join us among the stars. Everyone cheered. Violet's tail swished with emotion as she looked around at the smiling faces of her new family. Later, she found Lily alone by the viewport. I have something to tell you, she said, her voice serious. What is it? Lily asked, concerned by her tone. The long-range sensors detected unusual activity near the Calrissian Nebula. Violet said, the energy signature, it matches Lirani ships. Lily's eyes widened. Your people, are they looking for you? Perhaps. Or perhaps they are simply expanding their exploration territory. Either way, the Starseeker will encounter them if we maintain our current mission path. Have you told the captain? Not yet. I wanted to speak with you first. Violet's tail was completely still. If my people learn I have joined Starfleet, they may see it as threat. They are very protective of our technology, our knowledge. What do you want to do? I do not wish to hide, Violet said firmly. I have made my choice, but we must prepare the captain for this encounter. The Lyrani can be difficult, especially when they feel challenged. Captain Marshall called an emergency senior staff meeting after Lily and Violet reported the possible Lyrani presence near their planned route. Lieutenant Violet, what can you tell us about how your people might react to encountering us? The captain asked. Violet stood tall, her purple skin gleaming under the conference room lights. The Lyrani are cautious by nature, Captain. We observe before engaging. Our ships are heavily armed, but we prefer to avoid conflict when possible. Would they recognize? You asked Chief Security Officer Parker. Possibly. Violet's tail swished nervously. It depends on which ship it is and who commands it. And if they do recognize you, the captain pressed. They will be surprised I am alive. Violet said. They may be suspicious of my presence among humans, but I do not believe they would act aggressively without provocation. Do we alter course? Asked the First Officer, Commander Su Chen. Avoid contact altogether. Captain Marshall considered this. Opinions. Avoidance. Could be interpreted as fear or deception. Violet offered. The Lyrani respect directness. I agree. Lily added. If we're going to establish relations with the Lyrani, eventually better to do it openly. The captain nodded. Very well. We maintain course, but at reduced speed, maximum sensor sweep. Prepare first contact protocols just in case. As they left the meeting, Lily noticed Violet's tail was unusually still. Are you worried? Yes, Violet admitted, but not about the Lyrani. We may have a more immediate concern. She led Lily to the science lab and pulled up a sensor reading on the main screen. Look at these energy patterns from the Calrissian Nebula. Lily studied the data. They're unusual, but I don't see. Here and here, Violet pointed, two specific wavelengths. These are artificial, not natural. Lily looked closer. You're right, they're too regular, too consistent, but they're not Lyrani signatures. No, Violet agreed. They match nothing in your database or my memory, but they are definitely technological in origin. They reported their findings to Captain Marshall, who ordered a slight course adjustment to investigate the source of the signals. Before approaching the Lyrani ships, they would explore these unusual readings. They neared the coordinates. Lily worked with Violet in the science lab, analyzing the strengthening signals. There's something familiar about these patterns, Violet said, her head tilted in that characteristic way. Like a memory from childhood or perhaps from our oldest histories. The ship dropped out of warp at the edge of a dense nebula cloud. The view screen showed swirling gases in brilliant shades of purple and blue, sensors detecting a solid structure within the nebula, Captain reported. The science officer, approximately 3 kilometers in diameter. A ship? Asked the captain. No. The science officer shook his head. It appears to be a space station or outpost of some kind. Very old preliminary dating suggests it's been here for at least 10,000 years. Life signs. None, Captain. The structure appears dormant, but there is minimal power still functioning in some sections. Captain Marshall stood from her chair. Assemble an away team. Commander Chen, Lieutenant Hart. Lieutenant Violet and a security detail will investigate. Lily felt a flutter of excitement in her stomach as she prepared for the mission. She had joined Starfleet for exactly this kind of discovery. Beside her, Violet was unusually quiet. Are you okay? Lily asked as they gathered their equipment. Yes, Violet replied, but her tail was completely still, a sign of intense focus. I feel something about this place, a connection I cannot explain. The away team transported to a large central chamber within. The station emergency lighting activated automatically as they arrived, casting everything in a dim blue glow. The air was stale but breathable, remarkable. Commander Chen said, examining her tricorder. Environmental systems still partially functional. After all this time, Lily looked around in awe. The architecture was unlike anything she had seen before. Smooth, curved walls with intricate patterns etched into the surface doorways that spiraled rather than formed right angles. Everything had an organic flowing quality. Any idea who built this? Captain Marshall asked the science team. Nothing in our records matches this design, Captain, Lily replied, studying her readings. Violet. The captain turned to the Lyrani. Does this technology look familiar to you? Violet was standing very still, her amber eyes wide, her tail completely motionless. Yes, Captain, but not from my experience. From our legends, the Ancient Ones. Ancient Ones, Lily asked. In Lyrani mythology, there was a race that came before us. Violet explained, her voice hushed with reverence. They seeded the stars with the beginnings of life forms that evolved differently but shared a common origin. My people dismissed these as mere legends, but this, she gestured around them, this matches the descriptions in our oldest stories. The team spread out, exploring the abandoned station. It was vast, with countless rooms and corridors, many still sealed after millennia. Captain Marshall established a command post in the central chamber while teams investigated different sections. Lily and Violet were assigned to what appeared to be a data center. Rows of crystalline structures lined the walls, each giving off a faint glow. These might be information storage units, Lily suggested, scanning them with her tricorder. But the data format is unlike anything in our records. Violet approached one of the crystals hesitantly. Her hand hovered just above its surface. May I try something, Lieutenant? Of course. Violet placed her palm directly on the crystal surface. It immediately brightened, its glow intensifying. A holographic display appeared in the air before them, showing star charts and what appeared to be genetic sequences. How did you do that? Lily asked, amazed. I am not sure, Violet admitted, her tail swishing with excitement. I simply felt that it would respond to touch. Perhaps there is some biological component to their technology. They spent hours documenting the star charts and genetic information. The maps showed regions of space far beyond known Federation or Lyrani territory. The genetic sequences were complex and unfamiliar. In another chamber, the team discovered what appeared to be a laboratory with preserved specimens. Some were recognizable plants and simple organisms. Others were completely alien. Commander Chen reported finding living quarters. The beds are unusual, Captain circular and placed directly under transparent ceiling panels, like they wanted to see the stars while they slept. Violet's tail swished at this, like the Lyrani. We also sleep under stars. As the exploration continued, they began to piece together the story of the station. It appeared to have been a research outpost studying the evolution of life in this sector of the galaxy. The Ancient Ones, as Violet called them, had been conducting long-term experiments in guided evolution. In one room, they found a massive database containing what appeared to be genetic templates for hundreds of species. Many showed similarities to known races, including both humans and Lyrani. Captain Lily called over the comm. I think you should see this. When Captain Marshall arrived, Lily showed her the comparative genetic analysis she had been running. These templates show clear connections between species that evolved on completely different worlds light years apart. Are you saying these Ancient Ones were experimenting with creating life? The captain asked. Not creating, Violet corrected. Guiding. Nurturing. They seeded primitive building blocks, then allowed evolution to take its natural course with occasional adjustments. Why would they do this? According to what we've translated, Lily explained, they were dying out. Their species was reaching its end, but they wanted to ensure life continued to spread it throughout the galaxy, to leave a legacy. And they're gone now. It appears so. Captain, Lily confirmed, the last log entries are over 8,000 years old. They mention a final journey to what they called the Great Beyond. As they prepared to return to the Starseeker, Lily noticed Violet standing alone, staring at a strange symbol etched into one of the walls. Her tail was completely still. What is it? Lily asked, approaching her friend. This is the symbol of the ancients in my culture's history. Violet touched the symbol reverently. They were said to have seeded the stars with life forms that evolved differently, but shared a common origin. My people dismissed these as mere legends, but this suggests the stories might be true, that humans and your people might be distant relatives, perhaps. Violet's amber eyes met Lily's. It would explain why I have felt so at home among you, despite our differences. When they returned to the Starseeker with their findings, Captain Marshall declared it their most significant discovery yet. This could revolutionize our understanding of interstellar evolution, she said, and we have Violet to thank for helping us interpret what we found. That evening, the captain made a ship-wide announcement. Based on our discoveries today, I am officially naming the ancient structure the Harmony Station, as it represents the connected nature of all intelligent life. We will remain here for 2 more weeks to document everything we can. Then we will proceed to our rendezvous with the Lyrani vessels. Lily found Violet in her quarters that night. The Lyrani had arranged her sleeping area in the traditional style of her people, a circular nest of soft materials placed directly under the room's skylight. She was sitting cross-legged in the center, staring at a small holographic projection of the Ancient One's symbol. "Everything okay?" Lily asked, sitting beside her. The Starseeker left Harmony Station after 2 weeks of intensive study. The crew had documented as much as possible, but there was still much to learn. They would need to return with specialized teams. Captain Marshall had sent a message to Starfleet Command reporting their discoveries. The response was immediate. A specialized science vessel would be dispatched to continue the research. As they approached the coordinates where the Lyrani ships had been detected, Violet grew increasingly tense. Her usually swishing tail was completely still, and she spent long hours staring at the stars. "Are you worried about meeting your people?" Lily asked, finding her in the observation lounge one evening. "Yes," Violet admitted. "I have changed much since I left them. I see the universe differently now. I am not the same Lyrani who left in that escape pod. That's not necessarily a bad thing. To the Lyrani it might be." Violet turned to face Lily, her amber eyes serious. "My people fear change. We believe we have reached perfection. That is why we isolate ourselves from other species. We fear contamination of our perfect way. And now you're returning, wearing a Starfleet uniform?" "Yes." Violet's tail twitched with anxiety. "They may see it as betrayal." "Captain, to senior staff." The announcement came over the intercom, interrupting their conversation. "Lyrani vessels detected approaching our position. Report to the bridge." When they arrived on the bridge, the view screen showed 3 sleek ships. Their design was similar to Violet's escape pod, but much larger, with the same iridescent material that seemed to shift colors in the starlight. "They are warships," Violet said quietly to Captain Marshall. "Not research vessels." "Hostile?" the captain asked, cautious. Violet corrected. "The Lyrani always approach unknown situations with defensive posture." "They're hailing us, Captain," reported the communications officer, on screen. The view screen changed to show the interior of the Lyrani vessel. A figure with the same purple skin as Violet sat in a command chair. His amber eyes were cold and his tail was perfectly still behind him. "I am Commander Zareth of the Lyrani Protectorate," he said in perfect English. Surprising everyone. "You have entered space claimed by the Lyrani. Identify yourselves." "I am Captain Becky Marshall of the Federation starship Starseeker. We are on a peaceful mission of exploration." The Lyrani commander's eyes narrowed. "Our sensors detect a Lyrani life sign aboard your vessel," explained Captain. Marshall glanced at Violet, who stepped forward into view of the communication screen. "Commander Zareth," she said in the Lyrani language. The commander's eyes widened in shock. His tail twitched, once then went still. "Navigator Silrith," he replied, using Violet's Lyrani name. "You were reported lost in the pirate attack on the research vessel Stellar Wind. You are presumed dead." "I survived," Violet replied, switching to English for the benefit of the Starseeker crew. "My escape pod crashed on a planet where Lieutenant Hart found me." She gestured to Lily. "The humans saved my life and offered me sanctuary. You wear their uniform." Zareth observed, his voice cold. "Yes." Violet stood tall, her tail swishing confidently behind her. I have accepted a commission in their Starfleet. I serve as a navigation officer on this vessel. The shock on Commander Zareth's face was evident even to the humans who had never seen a Lirani before. This is unprecedented, a Lirani serving lesser beings. You have forgotten your heritage. Captain Marshall stepped forward. Commander, I assure you Lieutenant Violet serves of her own free will. She has been an invaluable member of our crew. This matter requires discussion. Zareth said abruptly. I will consult. With my fellow commanders, a delegation will transport to your vessel in 1 hour. Prepare to receive us. The screen went dark. Well, that went well, Captain Marshall said dryly. Better than I expected, Violet admitted. At least they did not open fire. The captain turned to her crew. Prepare for first contact protocols, Lieutenant Violet. I'll need you to brief the senior staff on Lirani customs and expectations. Yes, Captain. An hour later, 3 Lirani materialized in the transporter room. Commander Zareth was accompanied by a female Lirani in what appeared to be a scientific uniform, and a male in heavily decorated military attire. Their tails were all perfectly still, a sign of formal control. Captain Marshall greeted them with the traditional Lirani gesture that Violet had taught her, placing her right hand over her heart and bowing slightly. Welcome aboard the Starseeker, Commander Zareth. I am Captain Marshall. Zareth acknowledged the greeting with a slight nod, then his eyes fixed on Violet. Navigator Silrith. We would speak with you privately. Anything you wish to say to Lieutenant Violet can be said in my presence, Captain Marshall said firmly. This is an internal Lirani matter, the military officer said, his tail twitching once in irritation. With respect, Violet replied, I am now a Starfleet officer. My captain has a right to be present during any discussion regarding my status. The 3 Lirani exchanged glances. Zareth's tail swished once in what appeared to be surprise. Very well, he conceded, but we require privacy from the rest of your crew. Captain Marshall agreed, and they moved to the conference room. Only the captain, Lily Violet, and the 3 Lirani delegates were present. Navigator, Silrith, Zareth began once they were seated. Your actions are unprecedented in our history. No Lirani has ever chosen to serve with another species. I am aware, Commander, you were educated at our finest institutions, trained in our most advanced techniques. You possess knowledge that belongs to the Lirani people, the scientific officer added. I have shared no classified technology, Violet assured them. I serve as a navigator using only my natural abilities. That is not the point. The military officer said, his voice harsh. You represent the Lirani. Whether you intend to or not, everything you do reflects on our people. I understand that, Violet said, her tail remaining steady. And I believe my service here honors our people. It demonstrates our capabilities, our adaptability, our potential as partners, rather than isolated observers. Partners. Zareth repeated the word as if it tasted strange. The Lirani do not require partners. Perhaps not require, Violet conceded, but could benefit from. Nevertheless, there is something more important we must discuss. She told them about the discovery of Harmony Station, showing them the data they had collected. The 3 Lirani listened with increasing disbelief. These are myths, the science, officer said dismissively, children's tales. I have seen it with my own eyes, Violet insisted. Touched the technology, felt the connection. The ancient ones were real, and they connected all intelligent species, including humans and Lirani. Impossible. The military officer declared. The Lirani evolved independently, superior to all others. The genetic evidence suggests otherwise, Lily interjected, showing them the comparative analysis. There are markers that appear in both Lirani and human DNA, markers that also appear in other species throughout this sector. If this is true, Zareth said slowly, it would change everything we believe about ourselves. Yes, Violet agreed. And perhaps that is necessary. Perhaps it is time for the Lirani to rejoin the family of intelligent life, to share our knowledge and learn from others. The delegation requested time to examine the data. Captain Marshall agreed, allowing them access to the scientific findings from Harmony Station, but not to any Starfleet systems. While the Lyrani delegates conferred, Lily found Violet in her quarters. The Lyrani was sitting in her circular bed, her tail wrapped around her. "How are you holding up?" Lily asked, sitting beside her. "I am uncertain," Violet admitted. "Seeing my people again, feeling their judgment, it is difficult." "Do you regret your decision to stay with us?" Violet's tail unwrapped and swished gently. "No. I have found something here I never had among my own people. Acceptance, connection, purpose. My place is here now on the Starseeker with my chosen family." The next morning, the Lyrani delegation requested a meeting. When they gathered in the conference room, Zareth seemed different. His tail was no longer completely still, but moved slightly. Behind him, "We have reviewed your findings," he announced. "They are disturbing but compelling. The evidence suggests a connection we have long denied." "What will you tell your government?" Captain Marshall asked. "The truth," Zareth replied, "though it will not be well received by all. Some will refuse to believe, others will see it as an opportunity. The Lyrani are not monolithic in our thinking, despite what Navigator Silrith may have told you." He turned to Violet. "As for you, your status is complicated. You have violated no laws, but you have broken with tradition. Nevertheless, your discovery may be the most significant in our history. For that alone, you would be celebrated." "I do not seek celebration," Violet said, "only understanding." "The High Council will want to debrief you," the science officer said. "Your first-hand experience with the Ancient One's technology is invaluable." "I will share what I know," Violet agreed. "But my place is here now. I have accepted responsibilities to Starfleet." The military officer's tail twitched with obvious disapproval, but he remained silent. "A compromise, then," Zareth suggested. "We will establish formal diplomatic relations with the Federation, a first for our people. You will serve as liaison between our worlds, continuing your Starfleet duties but also representing Lyrani interests." Captain Marshall nodded. "That seems reasonable, Lieutenant Violet." Violet considered the proposal, her tail swishing thoughtfully. "I accept on one condition: the Lyrani must agree to share the findings from Harmony Station with all spacefaring races. The Ancient Ones left their legacy for all their children, not just one branch of the family." The crash shook the ground of Vega 7 so hard that Lily Hart nearly fell from her chair in the research outpost. Captain Lily had been stationed at this remote human outpost for 6 months, studying the unusual plant life of this mostly barren planet. She grabbed her emergency kit and ran outside to investigate. Smoke rose from behind the eastern ridge. She could see the trail the object had left as it tore through the atmosphere. Lily radioed back to base. "Unknown object, crashed approximately 2 miles east of the outpost. I'm going to check it out." "Be careful, Lieutenant Hart," came the reply from Amy Wilson, the outpost commander. "Sensor readings indicate it might be some kind of escape pod." Lily hopped into the small rover and sped toward the crash site. Her heart raced with excitement. This was the most interesting thing to happen since she arrived on this boring assignment. When she reached the ridge, she saw a small metallic pod, half buried in the red dirt of Vega 7. The design was unlike anything in human technology, with smooth curves and a strange iridescent material that seemed to shift colors in the sunlight. Lily approached cautiously, her hand resting on her stunner just in case. But her scientific curiosity outweighed her caution. She had joined Starfleet to discover new life and new civilizations, not to hide in research outposts. A section of the pod had cracked open, revealing a dark interior. Lily switched on her flashlight and peered inside. What she saw made her gasp. Huddled in the corner was clearly a living being, but not human. The creature had smooth purple skin that shimmered in the beam of her flashlight. Large almond-shaped eyes, the color of amber, stared back at her with obvious fear. A long tail with a tuft of silvery fur at the end, wrapped protectively around its body. Lily could tell from the creature's form that it was female. She had 2 arms, 2 legs, and a generally humanoid shape. But with that unusual purple skin and tail, she appeared to be injured, blue fluid seeping from a cut on her arm. Lily raised her hands to show she meant no harm. "We can help you." she said slowly as her translator device attempted to process the strange clicks and whistles coming from the alien. The alien female clutched her injured arm and backed away. Her tail flicked nervously behind her. Medical assistance. Lily pointed to the wound, then to her own first aid kit. Please let me help. After several tense moments, the alien cautiously extended her injured arm. The wound was deep with the strange blue fluid seeping out. Lily carefully cleaned and bandaged it while making soothing sounds. My name is Lily, she said, pointing to herself. What should I call you? The alien made a series of complicated sounds that the translator couldn't process. Lily smiled. That might be hard for me to pronounce. How about I call you Violet because of your beautiful skin? The alien tilted her head curiously as if considering this. Then she pointed to herself and attempted to say Violette. The word came out strangely accented but understandable. Lily grinned. Violet it is. She helped Violet out of the damaged pod. The alien was unsteady on her feet, leaning heavily on Lily. Lily could feel that her body temperature was much warmer than a human's, almost hot to the touch. Her skin had an unusual smooth texture, almost like silk. Come with me, Lily said, guiding her toward the rover. We have a medical facility at our outpost. We can help you. More there. Violet hesitated, staring at the rover with suspicion. It's okay, Lily assured her. It's just transportation, a machine. She mimicked driving to try to explain. Violet eventually allowed herself to be helped into the passenger seat. Her tail caused some awkward moments as Lily tried to figure out how she could sit comfortably. Eventually, they arranged it, so the tail curled around beside her. During the drive back to the outpost, Lily noticed Violet studying everything with intense curiosity, her amber eyes missing nothing. The alien seemed especially fascinated by the landscape of Vega 7, looking out at the red plains and scattered rock formations with what seemed like wonder. When they arrived at the outpost, several staff members rushed out to meet them. Their eyes widened at the sight of Violet. Everyone stay calm, Lily ordered. She's injured and scared. Let's not overwhelm her. Dr. Kate Brown, the outpost's medical officer, approached slowly. Bring her to the infirmary. Lieutenant, I'll see what I can do. The next few hours were tense as Dr. Brown examined Violet. The alien remained nervous, but allowed the examination. Lily stayed by her side the entire time, translating as best she could and offering reassurance. Her biology is fascinating, Dr. Brown said as she studied the results of her scans. Definitely carbon-based like us, but with some significant differences. Her blood contains copper instead of iron, hence the blue color, and her cellular structure is more dense than ours, probably an adaptation to different gravity. Violet watched them talk, her head tilted in that curious way that Lily was beginning to recognize as her thinking pose. Over the next few days, Lily brought Violet to the human outpost, where she was given proper treatment. The scientists were thrilled at the opportunity to learn about a new species, but Lily was protective, making sure Violet was treated with respect, and not just as a research subject. Violet seemed to trust Lily, more than the others, always staying close to her. When other humans approached too quickly, her tail would twitch nervously, but when it was just Lily, her tail would sway gently behind her. Commander Wilson was concerned about security. We don't know anything about her species, Lieutenant. She could be dangerous. If she wanted to harm us, she's had plenty of opportunity, Lily argued. I believe she's just lost and scared. Keep an eye on her, Wilson ordered, and see if you can learn more about where she came from and how she ended up here. Lily spent hours each day with Violet trying to improve communication. The translation device was slowly building a database of Violet's language, but progress was slow. Instead, Lily focused on teaching Violet basic English. To her surprise, Violet learned with remarkable speed. By the end of the first week, she could understand simple commands and even speak a few words. By the second week, she was forming basic sentences. Violet home far, she told Lily one evening, pointing to the stars visible through the outpost's dome. Ship attacked, bad ones escape, only me. Pirates. Lily guessed. Your ship was attacked by pirates. Violet nodded vigorously. Pirates, yes, bad ones, take ship, hurt crew. Her tail drooped sadly. Others not escape. Only Violet. Lily felt a surge of sympathy. She reached out hesitantly and placed a hand on Violet's shoulder. The alien stiffened briefly, then relaxed, accepting the gesture of comfort. You're safe now, Lily assured her. We'll help you figure out what to do next. What neither of them knew was that their chance meeting would change not just their lives, but potentially the relationship between their species forever. For now, though they were simply two, beings from different worlds finding a way to communicate across the stars.